you've heard the phrase, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah, Southington man bought a piece of designer jewelry thinking it would be a good investment. But as consumer investigator Sandra Jones tells us, he was shocked when he learned how much it's really worth if he tried to sell it. Sandra?
Mike and Shannon, Stephen Peretta says he shelled out thousands of dollars for a Gianni Versace ring. He's a huge fan of the Italian designer, but was hugely disappointed after finding out its resale value was thousands less.
It also says Versace here.
Stephen Peretta showed us the Versace merchandise he's bought over the years. His latest purchase was this $3,800 18-karat white gold diamond and amethyst ring from a Meriden jewelry store back in November of 2017.
It's the first purchase I ever made that's Versace, that's not bought directly from Versace.
The appraisal certificate from the jeweler, for insurance purposes only, estimates the ring's value at $6,800.
So it was more like an investment and an asset down the line.
Stephen says he didn't get the authenticity papers from the sales associate when he bought the ring.
It felt like the real deal. It had Versace in it, and even on the inside, it had a V. So I was under the impression, okay, this was an actual authentic Versace item.
He went to several jewelers to see what the ring was worth if he sold it. He was disappointed to learn the ring's resale value was only $350 to $800, thousands less than what he paid for it.
I was infuriated.
NBC Connecticut Responds reached out to the jewelry store's owner, who told us he buys high-end pieces at different shows across the country, and not all of the jewelry comes with authenticity papers.
We've come into this many, many times.
Gemologist Arthur DeMello is an independent expert. He says he's seen this often in the jewelry industry. Oftentimes, consumers are confused over the cost of replacing jewelry versus reselling it.
But when it comes to selling that item is only going to be worth a value to the consumer in that market, not necessarily to a jeweler, because the jeweler will buy that item and has to resell that item.
And that's the lesson learned for Stephen Peretta. If he doesn't purchase an item at the Versace store, he'll do his research before buying the designer jewelry at another store.
Then wait for the papers. Yeah, I don't purchase before that.
Now, gemologist Arthur DeMello adds that there are high profit margins for jewelry based on supply and demand. He reminds the public it's important to get a certificate of authenticity and warranty papers when you make a purchase. Now, if you need help with a consumer problem, call me. Here's the number, 1-844-303-RESP, or go to the NBC Connecticut app, search for Response.